Yes. Yes or no?
Yes. Okay. And we are live. Yeah. Welcome to the Arrogant Witch channel. Yes. Oh my God. Let me just revel for a moment. Welcome to the Arrogant Witch channel. I am Witch Naima, and clearly I have a very special guest with me today. This is Rachel Abba, who I will obviously be opening up the line for her to speak here in just a moment. If you are new here, this channel is dedicated to witchy entrepreneurs, those of us who are supernaturally powerful. We've been in hiding all of our lives, or for most of our lives, and yet now, at whatever age we are, we feel the calling to come out, spread the message that we're meant to spread in the form of a high business, right? Be very deliberate about spreading our message in the form of a business, because you know that it's serious and you're meant to take it seriously, and that your riches, financially and otherwise, are to be sourced through what was given to you at birth. And you're ready to cultivate that. You're ready to be supported in community, and you're ready to come out of hiding, get paid on the world stage, do the distinct work you were made for, and live bone deep fulfillment. That's what this channel is for, so that you can then make the decision, oh, this is my home, and then come join us in either the Arrogant Witch community or other offers that you feel like are for you right now. So let me just double check something. I just want to double check. Yes. Okay. We're public, blah, blah, blah. So, oh, it says no data. Wait, hold on, Rachel. Hold on, Rachel. On the fulfillment. That's what this channel is for, so that you can then make the decision, oh, this is my home, and then come join us. I think we're good. Arrogant Witch community or other offers that you feel like are for you. Let me close this. But let me make sure. I would hate for us to. Okay. We're good. So, but it says no data, but it's, oh, there we go. Okay, good. Girl, because I do not hardly want to get all the way here and then we end. And let me do something here. Record to. Very good. So thank you all for your patience. I'm doing a different kind of streaming. Normally I stream from my phone, and today I'm streaming from my laptop because Rachel is here with me. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Rachel Abba. Hi, Nakia. Nakia's in the comments. I'm going to let Rachel introduce herself. This is what we're doing here, as Rachel and I were discussing before we came live. We are pioneering a thing here that's never been done for supernatural folk. And we'll talk about, right? Listen, actually, we don't have to talk, because those who know me. This is incredible what we're doing. It's a big deal. And I'm incredibly honored that Rachel said yes, because like I emailed you, Rachel, there's no way we could be here if you didn't say yes, and it's just a big deal. And I'm so honored and, fulfilled deeply, like that bone deep fulfillment I talk about. I'm so fulfilled deeply to be with you at minimum for the next 6 months, and just tracking your progress. So for those of you who don't already know, Rachel just joined us inside of the Arrogant Witch community over the weekend. She was also a part of the Why They Call Your Spiritual Gifts the Devil. And I said, let's track your progress. How do you feel about publicly tracking your progress? So Rachel is here today. We're going to bring Rachel back again in 90 days. And then we're going to bring Rachel back again in 6 months here on YouTube, so people can see. Those of you who are, because this is scary for a lot of us. Sometimes we move slower, and to see a real person who we resonate with can be a big game changer. So that's why I thought it would be in great service to track Rachel's progress. So without further ado, Rachel, would you please share with us whatever you would like, who you are, what you felt when you came across my page, my wall, the video you mentioned.
Yes.
What it's been like for you since you've come into the Arrogant Witch world. I know this is multiple questions, but you'll get it.
It's layered.
And who you are and what it is, the gifts that you've always had and what you're meant to do in your lifetime.
Yes. Well, thank you. I'm really excited to be here, and it's happening. It's actually happening. Yes, I know. So a little about me. I'm a supernatural being, and I keep repeating that to myself. So I hear my voice saying it as
Mm,
well.
yes.
And I've always been. I was born knowing, knowing. I was born knowing that I was different. Um, how I how I first realized this was looking back and realizing, okay, even though scientists say, when you're an infant, your memories, they're not, you don't really have memories of that time because your brain isn't fully developed, blah, 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 the science. I clearly remember being a baby.
Isn't it
Clearly,
amazing how we start getting brainwashed that young?
right?
No,
And
don't remember. You
you
don't
don't
remember that.
remember?
That's
No,
inaccurate.
exactly. But there's nothing they can say because I remember. And I remember lying there feeling extremely helpless. I'm like, really? I couldn't move. Like, and I was trying to speak, but it was just like bubble gum in your mouth. I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. You know who I felt like?
What?
Huey. I think his name is Huey on what's his name? The baby that's like a plotting. I don't know if it's Family Guy or like some animation. Anyway, there's a baby that has like that speaks, right?
Okay.
That's
Okay.
how I felt, where
Mm.
I felt completely in my person.
Mm-hmm.
I had full awareness of what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom always said, it was like you were taking everything in and blinking was a waste of time for you. Like you didn't blink to the point where she had to keep blowing in my face
Yes.
just to get me to go. And I would resist. I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't want to,
Mm-hmm.
miss anything. And I remember all of that.
Yeah.
And I remember, just observing. It was like taking notes, like, and I was
Mm-hmm.
a baby. And fast forward a few years, when I was old enough or, mature enough to be able to use my, speech, I was just full of questions because I'd been waiting for that moment
Mm.
to be able to communicate because the frustration level, I'm like, I never
Yes.
want to be at this stage again,
Yes.
of being a baby and just, being on everyone else's schedule and not being able to get my thoughts and my feelings across and just being, just a lump indefinitely, right? So the moment I got speech, I was like, and that's when, my mother started to confirm, and she was completely freaked out because at the beginning when she noticed, and the first thing she noticed about me was at first she thought I was just disappearing, and she would go on these mad searches for me as a baby. She's like, where could you possibly go? Like you're
Mm.
She thought, did someone take her? Did she roll off the bed? Like she's checking under the bed, and she would like just rip the house apart looking for me.
Mm.
It's just a few months old. And then she would just, pray and just take a breath and come back into the room. And I'd be exactly where she had left me. Exactly. So this happened a few times. And this was what spurred her to just sit down and negotiate with me and just say, look, I know who you are. I need you to please, just for my sanity, for safety, for stop.
Mm-hmm.
Just reel it back. There might come a time later, but now is not the time. Reel it back. And so I was just like staring at her. And apparently I never did that again, and with her, but it came out in other ways. So then this was just me and my mom. And then I went on to live with my father and my other siblings. And I'm like, what is this? Right? Again, like, and apparently one of my favorite games was hide and go seek. And my siblings didn't like playing it with me because that's when they got the heebie jeebies. It's like, this child is weird, right? Where I would hide, but I wasn't hiding. I was right there and I could see them, and they'd be coming in looking for me everywhere. And then I'll be like, here I am. And they're like, no, no, we looked there and you were not there. And so after a few games, they're like, no, we're not playing with that. We're not playing that game with you anymore, because they were literally creeped out by that. So I realized, okay, that was one thing I had
What
where I
did they
had that.
call you? Like,
Aside from weird, aside from they felt that perhaps there was something treacherous about me. There was something that they couldn't trust. They felt uneasy in themselves. And I thought that was, as a child, you don't really, like, I didn't really understand fully what that meant. I'm like, okay, so they're a bit like just behaving oddly towards me, right? And a bit standoffish. But I didn't personalize it. I just thought, oh, they're having a problem.
And
And
this is how I like to position something. But this is how we start getting the message young that
yes.
who we are is some kind of a problem. We don't know what it is when it's happening at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
We just know that we're getting the message that something about us doesn't belong with how these other kids are.
Exactly.
With how these other kids play, with how these other kids think. Like that's the message that we get. So then we start to create characters to get along with people because we don't want to be called treacherous.
Exactly.
Because we don't want to be, right? So just imagine you start playing the piano at 8, you're going to be a fucking pro at 40. You start practicing anything at 8 and you do it consistently, you're going to be a fucking pro at 35, 45. Yeah. So we put on a character at 7, and by the time we're 35, girl, we are excellent con artists. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Tell the truth. So true. Then let's fast forward it then to teen years or however, 25 years old.
Yeah. So what started happening was I noticed, okay, I had the ability to be able to, like, I would walk into a room and I'd have presence, and I had to find a way to tone that down to the point where I blended in with my environment, right? It's almost like a fly on the wall type of thing. And I'd be quiet a lot, right? And then I formed this habit of not looking straight at people. Because when I did, they felt intimidated. They felt unsafe. They felt seen in a way that they were not comfortable being seen. It's like I could see right through, to almost like X-ray vision, right? And you could see, like, they would make any excuse to get out. So then, to make allowances, I would look at you, but then I would look above you.
Right? Like up here.
I'd look at, like, above your head, your forehead. I would look just off to the side, it's almost like the laser vision. Right? I'd look at you to say, yes, I'm looking, and then I'd shift it.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Right? Because it was too, unless I'm in a full on, like if it's something where I'm standing in my truth or holding my ground or something I believe firmly in, and I feel like I've gone into battle, then I would put my full attention on you. Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah. But otherwise I'm like, I have to make myself, I have to present myself in a way that is, I have to make myself smaller. I have to make myself, more digestible.
I was going to say palatable, but that's
exactly. You mush it down so it doesn't have lumps in it, right?
So take what it's been like for you over the last 5 to 7 years. What it's been like for you knowing who you are, hiding? What has it felt like?
Well, it's definitely, as a mother, and my oldest is 9 years old. So
you're married?
I'm married
to a shaman.
Yes. It's been more, I felt that I've had more permission actually, because children bring that out because they still have that magic. I'm like, I am not allowing myself to, kind of clip that in them, right? So right off the bat, having conversations about dreams, and it reignited that aspect of myself that I had kept shelved for so long, because over the years, like, my mom has since passed, but she was still around when my son was born, and it came up again and I do believe on some level my mom was witchy. But she was such a Christian that she had to, like, hold the fort.
Religious trauma.
Yeah, religious trauma. She had to hold the fort, but she knew, which is why she recognized it in me.
Yeah.
Right. Which is why, and but she supported me in her own way, which was through dreams. Right. Because she also had a certain level of sight. And so, she supported me in that way, right?
So,
a vision.
now let's get into what you experienced when you came across my video, or if it was something else.
Yeah.
When you came across it, what it's been like for you internally, what made you sign up for the 5 days, bring us into now.
Yes. Well, I was puttering about doing something else. I don't know what I was doing, but you popped up on my phone. Like literally the sound came on. It was on Facebook and it was in your promo video. And I heard, I was like, why did and I was more questioning how it happened. I'm like, why it's not on my phone? And and there's just something, I mean, spirit said stop and listen. I was like, no, okay. And I was just arrested, right? I was just arrested on the spot, and I was just staring at my phone, and I was listening to you, and I was watching you, in your flowy white, and you were talking, and you were speaking to me. It was almost like this was an invitation to now come down this path.
Okay, I'd like to pause for a moment to really illuminate something for our listeners. One of the things that's key for you that Rachel is going to learn over this next 6 months, and for those of you who invest and come and work with us inside the Arrogant Witch community, or work with me privately and actually do the business development part, okay? The way Rachel just talked about, I love the word, first of all, I love your voice, Rachel, you know this, I love your language. Rachel says she was arrested. First of all, before she even got arrested, something about the phone, how did this pop up on my phone? No, I don't want to, but Spirit said, and then she picked it up and looked, and she said, I was arrested. And you were talking to me. And it was an invitation for me to come down this path. This is the refinement, because this is a refined way of communicating online, so that when your people hear you, they say, okay, listen to this. Oh, this is for me. And then they lean in and go, because you are powerful and magnificent beyond measure. Yes. And no matter how powerful you are, no matter how strong your medicine, if your people cannot hear you when you speak, because you have not learned what's distinct about your message, what's distinct about your magic, and you're able to come into the full power bit by bit. It's not instant, but there's definitely a graduation, and you become willing to get on camera and treat yourself like a business owner, not just some witch who's doing videos when she's in the mood, but treating your business like a real business in the way that I am supporting you in doing, and coming out of hiding as a legit supernatural business owner who's not hiding anymore, who's refining your message. You will be able to arrest your people the way Rachel was arrested when she heard me. So then you were arrested. I want you guys to see that we're tracking Rachel. This is what you're going to do for those of you who are ready now, and you choose to come forward today, because we have a special bonus for the Arrogant Witch community for those of you who sign up today. And then for those of you who find yourself ready 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. Okay, so you were arrested.
I was arrested, and I listened to I just watched the whole reel. And the entire time I was thinking, one, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this, and I've never heard this spoken and expressed in on this frequency. Like, because I've heard other people talk about spiritual this and gifts that, and growth here and transformation. However, it's almost like a dog whistle, right? There was something embedded into the messaging that, I felt that connection to, even though I didn't know what it was. It wasn't intellectual. Mm-hmm. It was just on a gut level of, I need to explore this further. And I did. I went and found you on YouTube, and I watched a few of your videos, and I was like, first of all, I saw the first one. I was like, okay, yeah, Spirit, I get it. It all makes sense. I'm a bit slow, but
So
yeah, I get it.
You saw The arrogant witch community. Then you saw why they call your spiritual gifts the devil.
Yes, I saw that. Well, it was just a matter of getting an in, right? I was like, my circumstances are really, chaotic, and basically it was like any bone that which Naima throws that I'm able to like catch, I'll take it. So I started with your videos, and I'm like, and you leave little assignments, there's a cookie trail, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna take everything and consume everything and do everything I have. I have to use what I have. And so I did that. And then I'm like, the moment it happens, and it will, I'll be on it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly, so when you know, came with this amazing invitation into, your spiritual gifts as being the devil, I'm like, I know what that feels like. I know what
like
that
for
is.
you in there. What was that like? We completed last week, and
yes, we did.
What was that experience like?
I had an amazing partner. I went in open. And boy, as I said, in the video I made afterwards, I thought, having the background in psychotherapy and having gone through therapy myself, I'm like, oh, there's no stone I've left unturned. I pretty much know what's in my closet, right? Mm-hmm. However, it's like this particular 5-day program intensive. What it did was it took what I had already uncovered and that I already knew, but then it went to a whole other level with it.
Yeah.
Right. Where I know that this is a fear here. However, the connection to, well, how is that showing up in your life?
Yeah.
Right. I saw it was almost like theory, practicum.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, it, but it's like, what do I do? How do I move it?
Yeah. And I'd been attempting to do like so many things. I've been working so hard, right? So hard of, trying to, reprogram and rewind my alone. And that's right there is the key. Alone, right? Therapy is one thing where you do have a witness and but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
I would say in tandem, right? Like, therapy is not bad. Therapy is great, but not on its own. Like, it's almost as if I need like a diversified portfolio of transformation, right? Where, I have the therapy, I get a different perspective from that. I get the languaging, And then this program was like with a witness, face to face, intense, every day, and the consistency, right? And you're building that muscle, and I'm building up the momentum, and I'm seeing the way one fear rolls into the other, and and watching it transform. It was like I was in it, but I was observing myself, and then my partner mirroring stuff back. Like, it's just so, it was like almost like a show, like an energetic show where you're just watching these energies swirling around and changing form and coming back in. Like, it's just
I was watching your testimonial video, which was lovely. And I watched both of them, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so what was it like for you, since then? So we finished on, and you decided to come into the Arrogant Witch community. Tell us why you decided to come into the Arrogant Witch community.
It was the next step.
Yeah.
There was no question even going in that this was where I needed to be, because I'd been doing it, in a silo. Yeah. Right. And I can see the difference, and I experienced the difference between, it's like I have come as far as I can at this stage alone. Mm-hmm. The next step is, and that's also part of, what my work I sense will be, where it would have to be in community. I have to be interacting with people, right? I have to.
Why now? And for our listeners, anybody who has questions, even if you're watching as a replay, put them in the comments, because I'd love to come back and answer them. So, but I'm happy to answer live questions, so I'm really excited to do that. So Rachel, but why now though? Because some people feel like, well,
no, we touched on capacity, right? Expanding one's capacity, right? And so for me, to fully stand in my power,
Yeah.
And you know, pointed something out really, you know, it's I think I'm gonna have it on a t-shirt. It's, you know, so often I've been making myself so small and thinking so small and accepting that my options are limited,
Mm.
right? That it's like I can either do this or I can do that. You can do with this or you can go with that, right? And then
Beautiful.
it was like, no, it's you can have this and you
And
can
this.
have that.
Yeah.
So who do I
All
need
right.
to become to have both,
Get into it. All
right?
right. Let's illuminate. Let's illuminate, baby. So
Yes.
Rachel and I are both actively expanding our capacity for more love, more connection, more money, more all the goodness of whatever it is that we decide. Okay. And Rachel was talking about paying for things and like, I can pay for this or I can pay for that. This is the conversation she and I were having. And this is the value, one, of being in conversation with the right people,
Yes.
and two, doing wealth consciousness work on purpose and doing it for like as a lifestyle, not just because you want to make $10,000 this month, but doing it as a lifestyle so you change. Okay.
Yes.
So, because of the wealth consciousness that I've done for a long time, there's a frequency that I've developed that is there. And whenever I choose to not play in that, it's very much a choice. I'm not unconsciously keeping myself out of my desires, right? And it still can too, though. Like, listen, okay. However, I'm still also very much actively, but I'm also at a more advanced level than Rachel, which is one of the reasons
Yes.
why she wants to work with us, right? So, because of the work that I've done, Rachel gets to benefit. She's going to expand her capacity more, and everybody she serves is going to benefit. So, for those of you who are watching, who know that it's time for you to expand your capacity to have more and to it starts with language. Like I caught that because Rachel said to me, when I can pay for this or I can pay for that. And I was like, darling, one of the things that we're going to be working on inside of our program is wealth consciousness. Because Rachel actually took advantage of a special bonus that we're not going to even talk about here today. It's only for those people who were in that, came in at that level. I said, Rachel, it's not, one of the things we're working on is expanding your wealth consciousness. That's what we're going to be working on. Right now, you're this, that, or that is limited. How about that and that? And I heard the silence in you when I said that.
Yes.
Like,
Because I got it. Because I knew that intellectually.
Yeah.
But then I got it.
Yeah. See,
like
that's
deeply.
the power.
Yeah.
And the synergy that Rachel and I were able to have is because she's one of the people I'm meant to serve. Each and every one of you must get clear about you and become courageous and confident enough, which we support you in doing, so that you will claim who you really are and claim that in your messaging and claim that in your marketing and being consistent so you can attract clients who are like, they get what you're saying. There's a synergy when you guys communicate. They're open to receiving you versus spending energy on your haters and people who don't like you and your opposers. Waste of time, darling. That's a waste of time. Focus on who you are, your distinct message, and who it is that you're meant to serve, and they will show up the way Rachel has showed up. So, okay. So you're in now. Okay.
Yes.
How do you feel?
I feel fantastic. I feel just so that curiosity and anticipation because it's like you're on the road and you can see almost like you can see the promised land like ahead, you know, it's still, you know, a distance, it's in the distance, but you can see like all the spires and you can see, you know, it's like, and being, you know, what it is for me right now is knowing that I am on the path.
Yes.
Right. I'm on the right path, heading in the direction that actually honors who I am, where there are no little pockets of, oh, is it time? Can I, like, having to, you know, give myself, you know, whatever excuses or permission, or there's that conversation has ceased.
Yes.
Right. And I wouldn't have known that until I actually placed myself, you know, on this path where I'm like, oh, that's why that was connected to the other thing. because that's gone,
Yeah.
right?
Like the
Yeah.
video. If you're finding value here, like the video. So Rachel is new and in treating herself, and correct me anywhere where I'm wrong with what I'm getting ready to say, Rachel. Rachel is new. This is the first time she's getting serious, meaning she's investing money and she's working with an actual community and a high level mentor to take her and her witchy services to the marketplace. Is that accurate, Rachel?
Correct.
Yes.
That would be correct.
And so right now, she has minimal clarity on who her ideal client is. You've gotten paid some money, but you don't have.
Yes, it wasn't anything. I was like dipping my toe in it. I wasn't fully claiming, what I was still leaning on the worldly safe side, right? Of, oh, I have this knowledge because, I'm educated, right? I have this knowledge because, well, I'm smart, right? As opposed to, no. So here's the deal. Hear me well,
Yes.
because this is spiritual.
Yes.
Right? So that's the authority as opposed to a diploma.
Ooh.
Which is lovely.
Yeah.
But the only reason that really, and I got the sense, and Spirit was telling me there are no number of diplomas and degrees you're going to get that you will ever help you feel comfortable in your skin.
As a
right?
supernatural being.
Right. So it's like, you can keep signing up if you want and learning, because I was learning, because that's part of my thing. And Spirit is like, no, your right and your authority comes from this co-creation we do. So until you stand in this is where you're unquestionable, right? You've got the degrees to prove that, you got something going. You've got some experience.
Studied inside
that you studied, right?
Institution and completed their process.
Check. So you've got that. You did. That's why you went. That's why you had that sense of, you're not really here for this. Let me just finish it so I get the paper. Spirit was like, well, that's why. So you get the paper, so you're not just you're coming out of a hole somewhere. Yes, you've been through. Yes, I know your systems. However, here's the system.
Yes.
Right? And establish myself as an authority on what I know.
Okay, I'd like to take a moment to illuminate again. I got some soft chills in my left leg right now. What we are doing, this is a big damn deal. Okay. I talked last week about part of the reason why the planet is way off. Is one, Black male supernatural beings are way out of line. Okay. And also hiding tremendously. Okay. And number two, female Black supernatural beings are not honored. This world ain't never gonna be right until I and you and everybody like us are deeply honored. Things are radically upside down right now, radically. And I am so solid in this knowing, and so solid that when those of us who have this level of connection that Rachel and I are talking about, who have relationship with the elements, the trees, the sun, the moon, the stars, old earths, relationship with old earths, and relationship with ancient matriarch, okay? And really get down into our distinct work. When I say distinct, I mean it, meaning only Rachel has it. That's it. If Rachel don't bring it, it don't get brought. If I don't bring it, if you don't bring it, it don't get brought. I mean that. And the courage it takes to be willing to identify that, the courage it takes to own and claim that, the way when you were doing that, feel like claiming. That's all I was feeling coming from you, right? And then to come out onto the marketplace and treat it like a real business and not just some shit you do when you're in the mood. And you really stand behind it, as you just said so beautifully, an authority is tremendous. We are pioneering here, clearly. Rachel, I honor you so much. I respect and value you so much. I'm so glad that you're allowing us to witness you publicly, because you could have said, no, this is new. This feels tender. I feel like I want to be private. Or, you could have said anything, and you had the choice to do that. And all I would have done is said, well,
Okay.
I might have pushed a little bit. Depending.
Yeah, you would.
I might have pushed on that. But I also came to you with the energy of, it's time to make this public. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like people
you gave me 24 hours, less than 24 hours.
Listen, because I think people look at me and they're like, oh God, I feel like a lot for them to attain. And I feel like too much. Rachel is brand new in her publicity around this. Okay. So you can see somebody brand new in their publicity, be supported by me, and we're going to be tracking Rachel's progress. Get the fuck into it. Do you hear me?
Yay! Watch my trajectory.
Yeah. The whole thing. The not so
ups
good
and downs.
And the glorious.
Mm-hmm.
I want, when we come back here in 90 days, I want you to share with us what the struggle has been. Like, we gonna get into, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's the point. What the wins have been, what the awarenesses have been, you're gonna be looking different. You know what I'm saying? In 90 days. So y'all track, for those of you who are here now, come back. Let me look at the comments real quick. Nakia says she's so proud of you. Thank you for liking the video, you guys.
Thank you, Nakia.
What do you call it? Turn on the
what?
notification bell, girl. Always listen. I am remembering. Turn on the notification bell if you would like to be informed. I don't see any questions in the chat. Listen, what we're doing here is, listen, girl. And I'm doing this because people in my inbox, Rachel, they're around. I'm telling you, the hovering is real. The hovering, the number of people, men and women, who are hovering, watching, DMing me, emailing me. I'm ready to, you know what I'm talking about, right? And go ahead.
That was not an option. Spirit did not give me that option. It wasn't an option to have. It's like, watch her until I give you the in. Right. I cannot even imagine, because, I was at a level where I was just, you were the next, like there was no one else.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And that was also part of my sense of urgency as well, where it's like, maybe I'm someone else's what's next. And I'm stalling someone else. It's like, get out of the line, or, I'm stalling the flow. And I don't want to be in breach of spiritual contract, like, universal law, where I'm like, yes, you're on a people's exhibit A. Yes, I was afraid. So therefore I didn't show up, which is why this did not come out in the world. And I sincerely apologize post, No.
I encourage those of you who have just joined us to watch this go back and watch the replay, because Rachel talked about what it was like for her as a child, which is so common for those of us, and the difficulty and the way we changed ourselves to be able to get along as children, and how we continued until we didn't. And Rachel's married to a shaman. You want to share about that? Because that's a big deal. And
it's a big deal. However, I mean, his story is his story to tell. However, my experience of him, part of why Spirit brought him, because I was not having it. I was not in the headspace. I was not in the mood. And I sensed his witchiness.
Yeah.
And I, with my Christian thing happening, I kind of, pushed it away, but Spirit was like, no, that's not happening. This is going forward. And the confirmation for me was my mother's reaction to him, where she touched on his witchiness. I'm like, and this is the man for me. Right? Yeah. I approve. If she's giving him the same pushback that she gives me, then clearly, let's see where this goes. Yeah. Right. I'll be open to that. Right. And he's, he's witchy and honors that. And I tested the energy where I, came like full
So
where I could,
important to make
you
sure
know,
that he can
I
really be
did.
with you.
And so I came at him in a way that I would not typically do with other people, and got as big as I could muster at that time. And he just literally, his response was what did it for me, which was not only did he match my energy, but he also held it and then submitted.
Listen, 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 listen. You see what I'm saying? This is what the fuck. See, because I'm single, people think when I don't, oh, you single, right? Nobody has actually said that to me, but I know how people think.
They're thinking it.
You single, so you don't know what you know. You single, you this, you that. This is what the fuck I've been saying. Cause
I
we
tested
know
it.
we got the fucking codes. We got it. And I'm like, do you understand that when you submit, when she comes and you submit to the colossalness that she is, like you
And
own
I
her?
tested it. I was like pushing. I'm like, how far can I, like, we're in a
Can I
typical relationship.
basically, can I be all of who I
Yes.
really am with you?
And I kept like coming with it, and he just kept holding and holding. And then he also tested it as well, because I was like, I know my rights. I'm a woman. I'm in my strengths, like Western feminism, right? And he's like, and he spoke to me words that would not, like, typically would get my back up. I'm like, what? Get your own shoes, get your own, do whatever yourself. And it's like, and he tested it. And in that moment, in that energy, I was in submission.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who are you and what's happening? Right. I'm like, I'm doing things that, but it wasn't what was being requested. It was the energy in which it was being requested, because in that I was not being dishonored.
Yes.
In that he saw me and acknowledged that, yes, you're this great being.
Yes.
However, I too am a king.
Yes.
Right. And so we will do.
God,
and so I asked him,
up and through.
Right. I asked him, I'm like, so how come you? And he's like, well, if the two of us come up big together, then sometimes if you don't understand in this confusion, you can clash. So you come up big and I hold you and then I submit. And then when your energy is, then I come up big. But either way, it's this like balance of bigness, but we each have a role within that, as long as, And I'm like, yeah, I get it, Spirit. Yeah. So this was the first time I'd experienced that.
I feel like you can teach on this in a way that I cannot.
Western feminism? Out the window. Out the window. It has no bearing on my experience or my being. It has no place.
Yeah.
It has no place in my life. Yeah, because the way I define, because feminism was not an issue when we were clear. Right? I didn't have to fight for my rights because they saw me.
Honoring each other.
Honoring.
And submitting. I said
yes.
this like a month and a half ago. I said, men, supernatural men who are dating or you want a wife or all that, do you recognize that when you submit to her, it's on? Like it's on.
When he submits to me, he's never been happier.
Girl, you're getting it all. Like
everything. There's nothing I won't do. There's no mountain I can't move.
Rachel, how about this? I'll say this for the ego of the super. Sir, when you submit to a supernatural colossal woman, you own her.
Mm-hmm. And your energy levels up. Not only do you own her, but you get another added charge that you didn't have before, because she pours into you. She literally like pours power into you. And
so the consequence and benefit of that is you guys are able to access the power to create, because you're accessing something that stimulates your being, that then allows you to create things in profound ways, i.e. birth the new worlds that we are here to birth together. Bitch, listen.
Yeah. Because before this relationship, I really had no interest in children. I was complete with that. Like I didn't need that at all. And then I realized that it was in having that right energy, that right partnership, that literally, because before that, my womb was like Fort Knox. Nothing would get in. Nothing would happen. And I had no desire at all. But I got into his energy And out of the, like, within the first meeting or two, my ovaries were like, this is who I want to birth a child
Do
with.
you know that
And I was like,
thought to myself so much that I have never met a man who I wanted to create children with. Two, I'm not, it's been this whole thing about I don't want to create binds on this earth. I don't want to create, and children are a bind. Okay.
they
I
are.
don't want to create any
They
binds
can
on this
be.
earth. And I've never met a man who I wanted to. When you talk about the womb being Fort Knox, literally one of my ex-boyfriends who we were living together, like we were, you know, we weren't married, but we were acting like we was married.
Yes, yes.
And I never got pregnant. And he was like, I just, like, he said something that made me think, oh, have you been trying to get me pregnant? Because he was like, I'm just so surprised that you aren't pregnant.
Yeah.
I just, what do you think? Why aren't you?
Yeah.
Because he didn't know I had already made the decision that he wasn't impregnating me. That, but I was just like, you are not.
It's not going to happen.
Sir. We're just cohabitating and dating and sexing, but this is not it. And I have never, so many of our Black supernatural men need help. Even the ones who are, and this is a whole other conversation. I would love to have this conversation with you. The ones who are supernatural and they're with what I call basic spiritual women.
Yeah.
And so they're never met in that power that they need to really live the colossalness that you meet them or you see them and you're like, this is a big ass king.
Yeah.
But you see that the bigness is not reflecting in his life. And then you see the woman he married to and you're like, oh, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's definitely in line because, you know, just based on what my husband is told, right? I can see, they're like, who are you with now? Like, whoever, I want to meet her, you know, whatever it is, I want to know, you know, because he was able to do things that on paper he should not have been able to do because he had my full support.
Yeah.
Behind him. Yeah. And pouring into him.
Think that, oh, we all have access to the power. We're all the same. No,
we're not.
Supernatural Black queen is very different from you know, what I call nice Black spiritual Black girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong. It's just the degrees. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And how a lot of men think that we're because we're receivers,
yes,
women, that we're just taking them on, and that's that conquering ego. We're sucking them in all that they give us our semen, and we're just so her pussy juices are encapsulating you too, sir.
Sir.
You're getting the frequency of that basic spiritual woman's juices, sir. You know what I'm saying? And I see this out there, and I'm just like, they're not taking this shit serious. So I just love to hear you. I feel like you can teach about this. I feel like you model this. I look forward to meeting your husband. Like, gosh, this is it. This is home, you guys. This is home. Let me look at the comments real quick. Queenie said, I think Kenny the Gene said, we got the codes. I've been saying we do. And it's like, people think it's just cute, spiritual fun talk. Like, this is like for real, practical. Yeah. And when you're supernatural, you can't run. Like, I've demanded.
I tried.
I've demanded so much. Like, there's such a demanding that's required to pull down. But anyway, okay. I think we've been here long enough. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the people before we go?
Have the courage to say yes to yourself. Have the courage.
Elevate,
yeah, because you're you know, leveling up, and you know, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the world to be who you were born to be on every level. Take it or leave it. Yeah.
Rachel, I so look forward to you returning here in 90 days. Rachel will be back here on the channel in 90 days so we can see her progress. And then she will be back 90 days after that so we can see from today which is February 21st, until 6 months from now, we can see her
Wow.
progress as a supernatural being coming out
Yes.
of hiding with her magical supernatural husband into full power, doing the very distinct work she is made for, being paid well, and experiencing bone deep fulfillment in the process. That's our word for today. Thank you so much for being here. And I
Thank you
look
for having
forward
me.
to reading your comments. Remember, you can comment and we'll be back to look at those comments. Otherwise, I'll be back here next week. I'm here every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'm here. And I'm going to be in training from tomorrow through Friday, full days. I'm going to be in training, expanding my capacity as a leader, expanding my capacity as a being, expanding my capacity as a female, as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a woman, expanding my capacity. So I'm here to be in service. And thank you guys so much for being here. Share this video with somebody you think could find value. Rachel, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love
Thank you.
you. I honor you. I appreciate you. And I so look forward to being a part of your story. Mwah,
Yay.
mwah, mwah. All right, stick around, darling. Stay here. Okay, that stopped. This stops.